Good afternoon. I made this video earlier today, but for some reason, the cloud did not record it. Isn't that exciting? So what am I going to do? I'm going to make this again. What is this video? I went over all the parts about how to do the article discussion, and then I went over like just about everything for the first lap. So let me know if you don't get this or if you have questions about it. It's gonna be a lot of information. And just reach out to me if you have questions about it as I go through it. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. I'm gonna do a brand new tab. Pretend we're starting this from the very beginning. And I'll go through how to do the discussions and how to do the first lab. Okay, so sorry I didn't work the first time, but here we go. My SFF, and if no, some of them don't work, just let me know. So we're in my SFCC. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open Canvas. Okay. Here we go. So we're going to go to, I'm glad some people are doing some assignments. Please stay up with them. I'm not going to be expecting them late. All right. So let's say we're in D1 and we're going to go to modules. And the first thing we're going to do, because there's videos for everything up until the discussion article review. I changed this a little bit, but basically we have to find a magazine or journal article that includes some descriptive statistics. Okay, so you got to describe the article, what interests you, do you see problems with the article, things like that. So I want to show you something for a good way to search for articles. So we're going to go into the Microsoft 365. I'm going to go to this book that everybody should have access to. And if we go up to the very beginning, the intro of this book, when it loads, I have this link and this entire course, sorry, there's two introductions. This entire course could be just this project. Now, it goes through how to find a good article as well as how to vet it and what makes good. So I'm going to use finding. I'm going to do one with Google Scholar, one without Google Scholar, and how to search for it. This is like for times, years, like this is how you can get like use Google Scholar to like really get it. And there's also, in case it's not on Google Scholar, there's one that was created in Chino, California called the CRAP test, which I think is pretty great. So you look if you're using not an article or if it's not on the Scribmajo to be able to rate it. Um, you can look at the currency, how recent it is, how relevant is the source to your information, the authority who's writing it, and why they're writing it, the accuracy. You should look at how valid the results section is. They go through the methods, if they're citing their sources, and then the purpose, who's running it. So these are all things to look at if you're not getting one that's like a journal article. So I show you two ways to find these articles. We're going to start with Google Scholar. Okay, so if we go to Google Scholar, I did video games and aggression, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, video games can cause violence. So I first looked at this one. I looked at this article. Notice that you can change the time, custom range, sort by date, sort by relevance. I looked at this article first and I read it from the psychologist, and it didn't have any methods in it. They were just like talking about certain information. It has some data. It's getting some data from some places. It has some statistics, but he didn't really do anything, or she. I don't know who Feliz is, but I decided not to use this one because it didn't have a lot of information in it. Okay. So because there's no methods, I was not happy about it. I like that we have both languages. That's always pretty cool. That makes me happy. All right. And then I looked at this one. No, I think I looked at this one next, and it didn't exist, so it was not found. And then I decided on this one. This is the article I used from SagePub. Why was it a good article? Well, I read the abstract and I liked it. I read the abstract. I read the whole thing before, but I'm not going to read it again. But I read the abstract and I was like, okay, this is interesting. I liked it. It was like an after the fact thing. It had like college kids playing video games and then saw how aggressive they would be like a couple of days later if it was still making them kind of like angry, which I thought was a very interesting article. They use box plots, which is great, and that's stuff we've been doing in class. They have good, but they also use an ANOVA, and we will be using this analysis of variance in class. So I thought this would be a great article in case somebody wanted to pick it up. And they also use these, which are what? Correlations. And that's going to be the next thing we do in this class is correlations. So not only does this article talk about ANOVAs, but it talks about correlations. It's got means and standard deviations. But I just think it's really good. But before I looked at all that, I read the abstract, and the first thing I looked at was its methods. I think methods are the most important thing about an article. If you don't trust their methods, don't trust their article. So I think this is the first thing I go to after I read the abstract. So they got 126 people. Now, you might be curious about like how did they figure out how many people you need? You can do something called a G power analysis. Now, a G power analysis, basically, no matter what version you use, will show you exactly how many people you kind of need to make sure your study could be generalizable, which is really cool. Most people don't use it. I threw it in my dissertation because I think it's a very interesting thing to be like, I can get away with only having 40 people or 20 people or 100 people based on this G power analysis, which I think is really cool. But what the procedure I always read, and it said that they played Mortal Kombat, DC Universe, so they played one of these 6 video games, from violent to not violent, and with a partner of the same sex or alone. And then after the gameplay, they related how absorbing it was. They had a look at it the next day. And this is the best part. On returning to the lab, the participants were given 3 minutes to list what they thought about the game, and they completed a competitive reaction time task with an ostensible partner of the same sex, which the winner could blast the loser with a painful noise through headphones. So, like, it actually tested their aggression the next day. So, I thought this was great. Not only does it use the studies, I thought it was interesting. And the main part about this course, the one thing I really want you to get out of it is like, if you're trying to read an article, I don't care if you're interested in psychology, health, business, if you're trying to read like a real research article, I want you to be able to take something like this, reading this and understand what F1, 118, 65526 PD. This is your F statistic from your ANOVA. Okay. It's at P.00001, which means we are 99.9% sure this wasn't due to chance. And D is for like how much of an effect we have. So like this has everything. It's really well done. It's got the mean standard deviations and stuff like that. So even though I like it a lot, something that you should also do is vet the source. So what do I mean by vetting the source? I had never read something from the social psychology and personality science before. So guess what I do? I type in this word Scrimmaggio. Okay, it rates every journal. Isn't that awesome? You can see how good that journal is compared to other journals or the same sorts of journals. So here we go. I take it, I drop it in. Drop in the title of the journal, and usually it comes right up. Here it is. It's from the US, and we can see how good it is. It gives you information about the journal, tells you everything about it. Sometimes it tells you who funds it, which gives you more information. How often it's given. This is important. This is its ranking over time. This is how many documents that they put out. This is how many times it's been cited, each document, which you can see is almost 10 times per document, which is great by other journals. But Q1, that's the best. That means it's like the highest rated journal. So obviously this is a great source to have. Let's say you don't want to do one through this. I would recommend you getting a Google Scholar, like a good journal article, but let's say you just want to go to regular Google, which I'm totally fine with, or whatever favorite. Video games. Video games cause violence, right? Like this is something you're interested in. You can look at some stuff, right? Like if we look at this one, this is from the American Psychological Association. You know, if you just want a magazine article, where's the one that I found that was pretty good? this one. There's pros and cons, which I thought was interesting. Obviously, who knows, right? I like that it says reliable, nonpartisanship, empowering. I'm going to see when it was made, 2021. It's got some data here. So, but it doesn't say where it gets the data from, but I'm assuming when you click on these things, these links will bring you to where they got the data from. And they got pros and cons, and yet all of these are the articles they get it from. So this is cool. I kind of like it. Now, this you can think about is called like it's almost like a meta-analysis. What is a meta-analysis? It takes a bunch of different studies, puts them together, and like has an idea and tries to prove it. But here we go. Pros and cons, right? And you can read them both and get a better information about a bunch of things at once. You can do whatever you want for your study. If you're going to do this, where are they getting their information from? Where are they getting their data from? Where is this information interesting? A lot of times on these big journal articles, they pull from so many different sites at once, where I think it's good to just take one idea, right? Just take one article. Okay, that was 94. This was in 2014, something by this guy, Kyle Hill. I just clicked a random one, and I want to see how easy it is to find it. And I'll look at his methods because I don't know how well they're doing it. So they took a response from somebody who's talking about a study. They're not even talking about the study itself. See, this is why I like Google Scholar better, right? Like I want to find the exact methods. I want to know exactly what they did in the study. Like they found no link between violent movies and societal violence, but like unless I'm actually looking at the study itself, I'm not that happy. So you can use whatever one you want. I hope that was interesting and useful to you. But if it wasn't, I get it. It's not for everybody. But this is a good article. If you want to read it, it is a whopping, what is it? It's 3 pages, 2.5 pages long. Usually they're pretty short to the point and they do a lot of good. So this is something that would be interesting for you to look at for the first one. Okay, so hopefully that helped you. How did I change this? I said you only had to respond to one person, and I took out some of the things. You only got to do 3 things. Describe the article and about a paragraph. What interests you about the paragraph? Did you see any problems? Could you understand it yet? Was it unbiased? Could you identify the sample used in the target population? That's pretty much it. So I took out a bunch of things. That's all you have to do for it now. So hopefully that's useful for you. You do have to respond to at least one classmate. Before for both the course that you had to, it was like 2 to 3. I think that's too much. Just help one person. I think that's good. Okay, if you have questions about it, let me know. Let's go to the hard part, the lab. So here we go to the lab. So we go back to modules. This is pretty much all the end of chapter 3. This is like the only other things we need here. So here is the lab 1. I did this earlier today. So basically you got to use these 2 files. This is the first file. It kind of tells you everything you have to do. You got to download this file. You either do it in Excel or StatCrunch. I used StatCrunch in the last one, so I'm going to use Excel in this one, but I'm going to keep trying to vary back and forth depending on which one you like. Like refer to your Excel guide. It's talking about Excel, but you could also do it everything else. This part was a little hard when I did it. It took me like a couple minutes to figure out. So you got to do, I'm going to do everything for sample 1. So I'm going to do sample 1, sample 1, sample 1, sample 1. So you'll just have to do the other 2 yourselves, but I'll at least show you how it works. So let's get let's download this guy and work with it. As you can see, I did this before. That's why it's right here. And let's go with it. So you can copy and paste it in case you don't have Excel downloaded onto your computer and you want to use the web version. How about I do that? I'm going to use the web version so it'll look just like yours in case you don't have it downloaded. Okay, could not open the file and protect the, I don't care. Sweet, it's opening in 365. All right, well, that didn't work. So we can try it again. All right, so I'm gonna click here. It worked earlier today, but maybe it's not. So here's it. It's in the XL SX. I'm gonna try it again. Maybe if I download it after I open it here, it'll be better. Open in the folder where it is. Maybe because I had already opened it like before at 11 in the morning when I did this. Um, Maybe that's why it doesn't want to be my friend right now, but we're gonna find out together. Obviously, I want you can't do it without access to the data. This is what I get for updating my Excel. Ta-da! Cool. Enable editing. Let's make it happen. Now, I said I was going to take this and do it on the web version. So in case you have it in a different form, we're going to Control C. Okay, and we're going to, in case you don't have it downloaded, I'm just going to open a book. Oh, there's my home. I have it ready. Just so it's a little different from when I did it earlier, because that was a little annoying. So here we go. In the plus sign for a new sheet. This is my lab. You should be labeling these all, so you know exactly where all your stuff is. Labeling is going to be your best friends. Here we go. I do not like the space at all, especially if we're going to do a bunch of stuff with it. So I'm pretty sure we have sample one, sample two, sample three, and I'm just going to do the first one. We got the N. Well, I'm pretty sure it's we'll do N first. Minimum, maximum, range, median, mean, mode, and standard deviation. I don't know if they asked for all this, but because this is a sample, the mean, I'm just going to put a little X bar next to it. And the standard deviation, I'm put a little S, so we know which ones that they like. I'm also going to make this a table by hovering near the top and put some boxes around it. I'm going to make these, ooh, make these gray. I'm gonna make these blue. Why am I gonna use blue? They say it's men. Sorry that it's always gendered. If you hate gender stuff, pretend it's something else. My bad. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to order this data. So it's in order. Okay, so let's order this guy. I'm gonna highlight. I gotta move my flying head. I'm gonna go from ascending. No, just sort because these are from different folks. So I don't want it to switch. Let's see if I can do two at once. Let's find out together. See, it only did this one. So you got to do them one at a time. Whatever, it's not that big a deal. Okay. So here's the last one. And my data is sorted. Just sorted. Okay, so we have I highlight. How many do I got? How many is this? 20. See on the bottom it says 20. I know this little thing is there, but it's just 20. Can I get rid of this thing? I hope so. Put this at the top right now. So yeah, 20. Cool. So I got 20 folks. There's the min. We can see it's 97, or you can do equal min and highlight it, but we can see that is the smallest one. 97, the max is 382. The range is just equal to the max minus the min. The median's the middle number. So we can use the formula, or we can literally just do equals median. The mean I can do equals average. A4, right? To what was that 23? I can't remember how far down. So I'm just trying to show you different ways to do it. Yes, 23. The mode, I always do equal mode dot multiple and A3 to A23. We got more 173s than everybody else. And then the standard deviation, make sure that you're doing the population version, stdev.s for the population. I'm gonna highlight these. Boom. Oh, shoot. Okay. A4. See, I missed one. Oh, no, it was A4 to A23. All right, so I got to change these. I got to make sure this was 4. See if it changes anything. Nope. That one's 4. That one's 4. Okay. I like to double check. So this is everything. Guess what you'd have to do for sample 2 and 3? This standard deviation is ginormous. Okay. There's no way. Yeah, this 382, that's an outlier. So these two are going to have smaller standard deviations. I know it asks you for information about them, so you can just talk about the mean. Like this has a mean of 182 with a very large standard deviation. Just write what you notice, right? You could say this one probably has the biggest range as well. So do the same thing for 2 and 3. So that's the first part. All right, part 2. Sure, part 1. I'll bold it. All right, part 2 is weird. I got to make a new chart, new whole business. So let's check out part 2. I really hope this one doesn't delete. It's already pretty annoying. All right, so let's go back to. Okay, got to move you away. What does part 2 say? Yet again. Post that. Part 2 is, so we did part 1. We said a little bit of descriptive stats. What do we notice? So we're here. I need the range 1 standard deviation away, percent of data in the range of 2 standard deviations away, percent of data, range of 3 standard deviations, percent of data. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do. Oops, sorry. Okay, so we're just going to do sample 1. As I said, you get to do the other ones yourself. So this is going to be a little hard. So they want the range of data. So plus or minus 1 SD. And then we need the percent of the data there. Percent of data. You can make this table however you want. And then we need the range of data. I'll just. All right, and then we're going to do 2 standard deviations away, plus or minus 2 standard deviations away, and then plus or minus 3 standard deviations away. So anything past this is going to be an outlier here. All right. So I'm going to grade this out. Always like try to stay consistent when you're doing stuff like this. So we have our sample 1. And remember blue because we're talking about boys and weight. Yeah, we got some weights and some guys. We got one big dude here, so he's gonna mess everything up by being an outlier. But we could throw out his data if we really wanted, because we have the lightest guy and the heaviest guy all in this one. So how do we get the range of data 1 standard deviation away? So this is where it might feel a little tricky. So we know we have a mean of 182 and a standard deviation of 60.78. We basically have to visualize. All right, we basically just have to visualize. I'll just use the side of this. Am I not connected? Oh, sorry. Give me one moment. I thought I was done with the stuff for the day. Okay. Load. I'm on my friend. Not hearing anything. Okay, let's turn up the volume. All right, here we go. So They want to know. So this is for our first sample. And I'm just drawing on the side of the introduction for now. We're at a mean of 182.85 and a standard deviation of 60 point. And we should probably have these all the same decimal places. So I'm going to take this standard deviation and guess what? I'm going to decrease the decimal to make it 2 decimals. Cool. Now everything's at least in 2 decimals. So 182.85 and the 60.78. What does that mean? 2.65. And this is a really spread out. This data looks like this. It's so spread out. And because this is 60 away, I already forgot what the exact value was. This 60.78. So we're going to add 60.78 here, and this is going to be 1 SD away. We're going to have to subtract 60.78 here, and that's going to be minus, so this is a plus 1 SD and minus 1 SD. And this is going to be how much of our score? 68% of our guys are going to be here. Then we're going to have to do the same thing for minus 2 SD and minus 3 SD. For plus 2 SD and plus 3 SD. There's gonna be like nobody because this is so spread out. Our data, we're probably gonna have like 1 person or 2 people here for this one. Okay. But that's what I'm gonna do. So what do I mean by that? So the first range of data, right, to be plus or minus 1 away. Now I'm gonna use a calculator here. So let's do the minus first. So we have 182.85 minus 60.78, 122.04. Okay. 122.04 is less than X, which is less than, now we have to do the add. This is going to be on the bigger side. So 182.85 plus 60.78, 243.63. Okay. 243.63. And that is, oops, sorry, 243.63. Now they want to know what percent of our data is there. Okay, percent of the data. So first we have to figure out how many guys fall within this range. So we're here, right? We got to go from 122 to 243. 122 is here, and 243 is here. So how much is that? I gotta move this yet again. I have 17 guys. So I know that there are 17 guys in this. But to get a percentage, every time we get a percentage, it's just what you want over the total. So I actually have to take this 17 and divide it by n. What is our n? How many people do we have here? 20. So this is really going to be 17 divided by 20. Okay, that's what this is, okay? So to do that, remember Excel's a calculator, so don't forget that it's just a calculator. So 17 divided by 20. So we can just do equals 17 divided by 20, 85, and then we just times it by 100 to get the percentage. 85%. So that's the answer here. That's the percent of the data. All right. Guess what? Got to do it again. So now we're moving 1 more standard deviation away. So the mean, we first subtracted 60.78 here. So I got to subtract it again because we're 2 away. So I have to subtract the 60.78 twice. So we can just take 122.04 and minus 60.78. And guess what we get? 61.62. That's our first number. is less than X, which is less than, then we just have to add the 60.78 to this one. That's all I'm gonna do. So 243.63 plus 60 point, oops. Plus 6. It says -2 for some reason. So 243.63 plus 60.78. So 304.41. Okay, let's see. So 304.41. Cool. So that's the answer to this. And yet again, we have to find how much data is here. So now I need from 61 to 304. We still don't have this guy. So it's this one. But now we're going all the way down to here. And now we have 18. We got one more. So it's 18 divided by n. Basically, all we did was add how many more? We're just adding one more person. So it's just 18 divided by 20. What is 18 divided by 20? If you can't do that in your head, let the calculator do it. It's 0.9. Or what is that? It's 90%. So that's the answer to this one. Now, finally, range of data plus or minus 3 standard deviations. Guess what we're going to do? The same process again. We're going to take the mean. Now we're subtracting 60, 60, and 60. So we're subtracting 60.78 a third time. So there's almost nothing left here now. So did I lose the calculator? That's okay. I can bring up another calculator. I guess I deleted it. So it's 61.62 minus 60.78. 0.84. 0.84 is less than X, which is less than, and then we have to add this one. I'm pretty sure that's going to do all of our data. I can't really remember. So I made so many videos today. 243.63 plus 60.78. So it's 3 standard deviations away. It's 304.41. Oops. So if you make a mistake like that, you can hit undo. We just added 304. Oh my God, I did it again. That's so annoying. Is there a redo? There it is. All right, so here we are. 304.41. So how much of this is this? From 0.84. Okay, so that's, we're including the top one. Did we include the top one last time? Did. So where it's from 4 and should be all the way to the bottom. Actually, no, it's not. So we are 19 again. Did I mess up the one above it? The one above it should be 61 till 304. Oh man. Okay. I made 2 mistakes. Isn't that exciting? Okay, so the first one is here. I'm going to do one mistake at a time. The first one should have been 97 until 271, which is 19. 19 out of 20, that's 95, I'm pretty sure. Nice. So this is 0.95 or 95%. All right, so I fixed the first one. The second one is this is another part of the data. So I added it to this one, but I should add it to this one. So this one needs to be 304.41. We have to add 60.78. See, we're all human. We all make mistakes, right? 365.19. 365.19. Let's see if that one encapsulates everything. So we're at a decimal to 360. Oh no, we're still not there yet. So this one's also 19. Just gonna highlight this line. We don't have to do it again. Boom. So this is the answer to these. The bold ones are the answers. Okay, awesome. Part one, part two. Let's keep it going. Let's see what else we have to do. Part five is make a frequency distribution with a column for relative frequency for each sample, as well as a histogram for each basic distribution. Okay, so remember to get the mid-range, they did this fancy max plus min divided by n to get what it should be, right? To get this mid-range for all of these. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But we can look it up in our notes. I'm pretty sure it was max plus min divided by n. But I always will double check. Central tendencies. How'd they figure out how spaced out it was? The mid-range is max plus min divided by 2. Okay, so max plus min divided by 2. We'll give that to you. What was the fancy one that they made us do with the logs? Max plus min divided by 2. Yeah, log n over log 2. That was the real way to do it. And then they had this like cheat way, right? Their way is like, this might be too hard for you. Oh no, so this is the width, max minus min over n. That's how we get the width of these columns. So max minus min over n. So let's try it. So to get the max minus the min over n, so this is the width, right? What do they call it one more time? They call it the width, right? That's how they get the width of these things. So max minus min over n. Let's see how far off it is. I like doing the logs, but that's okay. So that we need for our frequency table. So I'm going to do equals. I'm going to do equals the max minus the min. Okay, I got to put parentheses around that. And I have to divide it by 20 because that is the n divided by 20. So let's see how big they want these to be. 14.25. So that is approximately, or you can do the little squiggles. It's about 15. Theirs is from 100 to 3. Oh, I'm not doing 15 every time. This is the width they want. I'm going to go up 50 every time. Why? Because that's a lot. So here we go. I'm going to have frequency. Sorry, this is going to be weight. Our weight range. Frequency, we'll have a relative frequency. And we'll have a cumulative frequency. I'm going to use blue again. Sorry about it for people who aren't a fan of the gender stuff, but that is what I'm doing. Cool. Here we go. So the rate range I'm going to go is 0 to 50. Sorry, 0 to 49. 50 to 99. 100 to 149. 150. You can go 15 at a time, but that would just, I've already done this video. I'm not doing that again. 199, 200 to 249. But use whatever one you want. I won't take all for this, even though they want you to use that. We got 300 to 349, and then finally 350 to 399. Oh. This is the frequency table, so we can make our histogram. Boom. And I will make these darker blue, slightly darker blue. Cool. All right, so how many from 0 to none? How many from 50 to 99? 1. How many from 100 to 149? 100 to 149, we have 5. How many from 150 to 199? We have 9. How many from 200 to 249? We have 3. How many from 250 to 299? We have 1. How many from 300 to 349? We have 0. And how many from 350 to 399? We have 1. All right. That's how you get them. You count how many of them are in each. Now, the relative frequency is like the percentage. We have to figure out of the total. So I'm going to cheat and do 1, and they're all going to work. So I'm going to do this is 0 divided by 20. Now, if you don't believe me that it's 20, you can literally click this. And where's the sum? Auto sum this. Boom, 20. Now, because I have this equation here, I can just drag this down. This is like one of the best parts about Excel. It does everything for you. Now, these don't look like percentages to me. So I can click this and I can make this from general to percent. Boom. Nice. Now, cumulative frequency. The first one's 0. The second one, it's equal to 0. And we're just adding them. I think accumulate, add them all up. So we're going to add this preceding one. So it's got to be the above plus the preceding one. And then you're good to go. As soon as you got that, you can drag it. And it should end at 20 to make sure it matches. Ta-da! Okay, so there we go. Now, the only other thing we have to do is make a histogram and a box plot. So only highlight the first 2 for this. Now, whatever ranges you're using, maybe we should have used 15 because look, these should all go by 15 because they're so close together. You should be using the same one for all of them. So do it however you like, but you should have the same lines for your histogram so you can compare them. So if you go 50 every time, you got to go 50 every time for all of them. But we're just going to go to insert, columns, change this to mint weights. We need the titles for everything. So the horizontal axis, the first thing I'm going to do, close the histogram. The second thing is I'm going to turn on the title. And this is going to be range of weights. Be sure it's in pounds. Go. Nice. And then I'm going to do the vertical axis. I'm going to put on the title. Now I'm going to say this is amount of men because that's what it is. Nice. If it was women, I'd probably change this to pink. Now, the other thing I want to show you, I want to turn on labels because my eyes are bad. What do I mean by labels? Also, we don't need this legend. We're turning it off. But when I go here, I can put on the labels and it's going to show me exactly what everything is. I kind of always like them on the inside end. That's just me. Everybody's different, you know. I usually bold them and I put a white fill around them. Now when I look at my chart, I'm like, I know exactly what every column is. I'm bad at seeing, so to know this one was 3, scaling it over, I like that it says 3 right there. Okay, cool. So you're gonna have to do 3 of these. I would have them all on different ones, but I would be using the same ranges. Whatever range you decide to use, make them the same so you can compare them. So they're gonna ask you to compare them. All right, now we get to do the box plot. For the box plot, I'd probably do all 3 at the same time. Ta-da! So for the box plot, we're going to insert down here. It's all the way at the bottom, I'm pretty sure. Nope. It's right here. So there's your box plot. I need a legend. They're different. My legend is on out sample one, sample two, sample three. I don't like that. I'm gonna call it men's weights by sample. We have 3 samples. A little apostrophe. Okay, now for these plots, okay, there's some things that you need. Right away, they're cheating by excluding the middle. We want to include that middle. We're going to include the middles in our calculations. We're also going to turn on our data labels. But the labels are on the one side, and now they're on the other thing. So we're going to push this one to the left. And the values are good decimal, I think. I'm going to fill it in white. Oh yeah, I can barely read that. So I can still barely read that. All right, that's a little bit better. That's okay. Now, let's do the series for sample two. I'm gonna do the same thing. So this is the mean. You can take out the mean. If you think the mean is throwing you off, take that mean out. Be like, I don't want the mean there. So you can be like, okay, show inner point, show outer point. Get rid of the mean marker. Nice. Makes it a little bit easier to see, right? I don't know if it does, but we're gonna do the same thing for sample two. I'm gonna take off the mean marker. I'm gonna include the median. Turn on my labels. And I'm going to put white around them so I can see them a little better. That's pretty good. Now, finally, our last one for series 3. Get rid of the mean marker, include the median so it doesn't get lost in our data, put on the labels to the right, and let us be bold on. Is that easier to read? A little bit. It's up to you, but this looks good to me. Now, the one thing I'm going to change, so I kind of want to see this a little better. I'm going to get out the 0 because does anybody really worry 0 pounds, right? So I'm going to start this at 85 pounds. Okay, cool. And I'm going to go all the way up to 390. What is this doing for me? Just spreading it out a little bit, making the bar charts a little bit easier to read. So that's what I did. So here it is. I was gonna do one, but I just thought I'd show you all 3 together for you. I'd have the 3 different histograms. This is your first lab. What would I do? Copy and paste it into a thing because you got to fill in all the parts, print it out, write it on a PDF, write it on a piece of paper, however you want to do it. I just need to see the tables, this data. I need the part 2 for everybody, the frequency tables, histograms, and these, I don't know where I put my box plot, but my box plot is somewhere in this mess. Here's the box and the box plots. That was a lot. I really hope this one comes through. Let me know if you have questions, either about the discussions or lab 1. Don't be afraid to reach out. Let me know how I can help you. Let me know how to make your life easier. Feel free to reach out and enjoy your day. Enjoy your day.